Hi, everybody. This is Tina Campbell, the New York Regional Partner of Master Networks. We're a national networking organization, and we're here to help you, especially entrepreneurs and business people, to grow and pivot during this difficult time and beyond. We're doing what I thought with these lunch and learns is to relay tips, techniques, and tactics, really transitioning to this new normal. Today, we're learning from a friend of mine, Steve Spiro, about effective networking. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Tina. Appreciate you having me on here.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait because this is like a topic that's near and dear, to both our hearts. So
Absolutely.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, born and raised in the Bronx, and I think you know this. I'm shy and introverted by nature, so networking was definitely not in my DNA. Went to high school and college for advertising. Got out of college, started a small advertising company, and eventually, did well in that industry. And then I got laid off right around 9/11. And about a year before that, I had met a very successful entrepreneur who was very charismatic, very dynamic, and kind of got me kind of thinking out of the box, kind of, helping me get out of my own shell and sort of set me on a path of self-development and got me into networking. And so fast forward, quite a few years later, other people refer to me as a master connector, but got over 16,000 contacts in my phone, about 9,500 on LinkedIn and growing. And my personal goal is every day to convert three perfect strangers into friends. Now, obviously, with us being quarantined, that's kind of shifted a little bit, but it's interesting, and I find it's really cool to be able to connect with people and get out of my shell. My motto is there's danger in the comfort zone, and I love challenging myself and pushing myself. And I feel good about that. So, and it's great to connect with people and really connect on a not just a superficial level, but on a meaningful level.
Absolutely. It feeds something in your soul, right?
Absolutely.
It's
100.
funny. And you and I were talking about this before, and that was about closet, like we're like both closet introverts,
Yeah.
but have kind of stepped out and to this other, this new persona.
Sure.
And I love what you do, and I've actually seen you do this on LinkedIn Live, and I've seen you you present this, and it's really some great tips. Do you want to kind of explain what networking means to you and how to
Sure.
help other people understand it?
Yeah, I mean, not to get into too much on this because I'd love to maybe have an opportunity to do this with whoever's listening more intimately or whatnot. But I like to talk about the three-legged stool of networking, right? And it's not all or nothing. Networking to me is a process, and if you treat it purposefully, it'll benefit you significantly, like it has for me. So one of the legs of the stool is conventional networking, right? I mean, I love master networks. I'm a big believer in it, and there's other networking events and so forth. But most people don't have a clue on how to leverage that in a good way. Work the room, the follow up and follow through. There's a lot of good things that you can do around that, and again, it's very purposeful. So that's one. The second is social media networking. LinkedIn is a big one for me, but it could be any of them. And most people, you get a new connection and, great, you have an endorphin hit, but what good is it, right? Unless you actually connect with the person. And then the third is, I call it community networking. The world is my networking event. And again, being quarantined, not so much these days, but while pumping gas or at the gym or living my life on purpose, I just talk to people. And my goal is, as I said before, to make turn three perfect strangers into new connections, 3 a day. And most days prior to this, I might fall short a little, but I think I probably averaged over the last few years, maybe 2 a day. And it's pretty cool to be able to grow your network in many different ways. And again, it's not one magic bullet. It's all of those things that help.
And it's amazing because yes, you're curating, right? You're curating this network, but you're helping people too. That's the one thing I know about you. It's not like just about you going out and making those, like you said, those three people a connection. I've seen you then take it that much further, and you're actually doing good.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, listen, you know, I think Tina, you and I share this feeling like it's really rewarding and to be able to help others, right? I like to say, you're blessing to bless others, right? Or you're blessed to be blessing others, I think is the
Yeah.
expression. But yeah, so it's great. And so, yeah, I'm not just, my agenda is really, how can I help you? How can I be a resource to you? And if you go out there with that type of mindset, it's so much easier. If you go out there and you're trying to get something, people smell that
Yeah.
it's not authentic. It's cheap, and I'm not about that at all. So it's pretty interesting. I'll tell you a quick funny story, right? Whether this will relate to anybody or not, I don't
Okay.
know. When I'm out
Doesn't
there
matter.
talking to people, whether it be in a networking event or out in the community, I liken it to people, going to pet a dog, and I'm not trying to call anyone a dog, but you get one of three reactions when you go pet a dog, right? They either wag their tail, they want to lick your hand, and you can tell they're to be interacting with you, or they're just they just are indifferent. The dog just sort of walks away, or a lot of cats are like that, or they start to growl and their tail raises up and the hair of the back of the neck, and that they don't want to be petted. People are similar, right? And you just
Funny.
go out there, but it's not us. A lot of people think, oh, what did I do wrong? No, it's just people. But I find in the world today, even though we're programmed not don't talk to strangers, it's amazing how open people are in the Northeast to talk. It's pretty cool. So those are some thoughts.
No, I love that. I love it because you know what you said about being authentic, because I actually wrote down authentic and then you said that word, which was really funny. But what's really interesting to me, so we were at a Master Networks mixer recently, and we had a couple of our groups were together. So it was a pretty large group down in White Plains. And a person came into the group who had heard about this event, and they came in and they were just handing out their business cards, like,
Uh,
almost like a dealer,
yeah.
in Vegas. And they're just like, doing this. And I sat back and I watched the person kind of try to work the room, right? Very quickly, giving out the cards. I watched our members, our Master Networks members, because we're a very relational group, right? I watched them physically recoil from the person
Mm,
because
wow.
they felt the energy, right? Which is
Yeah.
not, it wasn't authentic that they really wanted to meet anybody. They just wanted to hand out their cards. And I was like, you know what? I watched it, and there's nothing that I was going to do to stop the person. I mean, they weren't going to
Right.
listen to me anyway. You
Sure.
have to, when you come into a group, as you and I know, it's like maybe getting to know, like you said, those three people. It's quality over quantity, right? So I think that's what you were saying. You're meeting some people that, you might meet 10 people. It doesn't matter, but you're three that you're saying that are becoming either, strategic partners or potentially, or friends, whatever that is. That's three. I know you meet more than that a day. That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, I mean, and my philosophy when I'm going to networking events once they start again is definitely to do more than three, but to do it in a way that is normal, organic, caring. It's funny. I was at a networking event before this whole crisis happened, and he's a financial guy, and we're together. We introduced ourselves to one of the speakers at this event, and the speaker asked us, what do you do? And my buddy just went on for like 3.5 minutes about what he,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was being polite, and I didn't even have a chance to say what I did. And later on, I took him off the side. I said, listen, you're selling, you're pitching. That's not what you want to do. You want to, come up with maybe it's 20-second at best, maybe 10 seconds about you, but bring it right back to them and connect on a personal level so that I told him the magic happens not at the event. The magic happens at the coffee after the event or the follow-up Zoom
Right.
after the event, not happening there. So you can't expect to pitch somebody and giving out cards. That's not the magic. I'll take a card like that and I probably won't even do anything with it. I want to connect with the person. I want to say, is this person somebody who I feel value? Them as a person is value, and then I want to connect with them, and hopefully vice versa.
Have you ever read the book, Seven Levels of Communication by Michael J. Marr?
I haven't.
It's really good. It is real estate focused, but you know what, you can relate it to any industry. But what
Mhm.
he's saying is, it made me think of one of the tips he gives, and that is going up to getting a little early to one of your events when these events start happening again, in-person events, and going up to find out who, the leader is or somebody who's throwing the event, get a little early and ask them how you could help them.
It's great.
You imagine? It's like, how can I help you? Do you need something done? Do you need,
Yeah.
can I help you? And it's just amazing. And I've tried to do that, and again, you want to be in an authentic way. You actually want to help.
Yep.
So check out that book. I'd
I
be
will.
really interested in almost doing maybe a book club on that book.
Mm,
If you were interested, we could talk about that.
sure.
So tell me more about uh, about the follow-up. What do you find? How do you get that person to take your call? Or is there any tips that you have for that follow-up? Because I think that's where a lot of people, they go to the event, they could get a card from someone that they want to connect, and then you know what? They're just not following up. So why don't you tell me about that?
Well, the first tip to follow up is do it.
Yeah,
Well, no.
yeah,
People, they walk around with this big stack of cards.
yeah.
That's that. Well, so you have to do it. And I like to do it the night of or the next day, just while it's fresh, while it's in my mind. So I don't just it keeps piling up. And just like, knowing you got to get to your taxes, right? It becomes,
Yeah, you got to stack.
the stack becomes a burden. So just get it off, right? We got some great apps. Cam card is one I like to use. It scans the card, right? Puts it right in your contacts in your phone. You're good to go. I'm not a cookie cutter guy, but there are some emails that I've used that I'll customize slightly, but those are, and it's easy, it's quick when you actually have it kind of a process. It's minutes, right? But when I've crafted messages, you got to think, okay, what's the other person thinking? And I believe that uh, built-in value. And I like to believe that the person is going to be better because they know me. And how can I convey that? And I don't mean professionally, in terms of my, I do consulting for a company called Quadient, right? So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how could I be of value. So maybe it's, I have a big network. Maybe I could connect them with somebody. I've got a lot of different experience and background in many. So maybe I could be a resource in terms of helping them, through something or whatnot. So when I send a message, it's to the effect of, hey, I'd love to learn more about what you do, your background, and I have a big network. Maybe I can help, connect you with somebody, and not about I want to pitch you
Right.
and see if you could be a client of mine. No, it's what can I do for you and help be of value to you. And when I get on and do those phone calls or Zoom calls or coffee, that's exactly what I do. I want to tell, I have we tell our stories. I say, listen, because everyone starts, it's so humorous. So tell me what you do. And I stop people and
Yeah.
in a polite way, and I say, I'm just going to make a suggestion here. I love networking. I know you do too. And I love, rather than just sort of starting with what we do, because it's kind of boring and doesn't really connect much. Why don't we kind of give our stories, our journey, the backstory? Because I feel like that's how you connect on a deeper level. Because you're gonna ultimately, if you're gonna do business, you like to do business with people like, and trust. And having me tell you what I do is very superficial. Let's get into our stories. And through that, I think there's commonality. There's some gaps that get bridged and so forth. And it's really, really cool. And at the end of the conversation, you almost have like a mini friendship. And that's the beginning stages of possibly doing business together.
Perfect. One of the things I know we do in Master Networks, we do what we call bond. It's a process. It's just to try to get people to do exactly what you're saying. It's to try to get into something other than just your immediate business. And I've even had people in a face to face like open up a computer and like want to show me a video of their what they're pitching, and I'm like, please, let's close that up and let's
Yeah,
talk. And then I like to use the icebreaker. I ask them, where'd you grow up?
I
I
love it.
find it fascinating because,
Yes.
again, most of us are kind of in the Northeast right now. We're, especially now that we're well, before we were quarantined, we were in the Northeast. So to say where do you live? It's like we're all kind of living in the same area, but I love to know where they grew up because
Sure.
kind of gives me a reference. And sometimes, you even know somebody that they know. It's really funny when or I say, well, then I might say, oh, did you go to school? And, you just kind of dig into that. Sometimes you
Yeah.
have to dig, and some people are like, why do you want to know this? And,
Right.
but once you loosen them up, right, the floodgates open.
Yeah. Yeah. I use similar. I say where you're from because that could mean both. It
Yeah,
can, because I've had people that had a little accent, and I didn't mean where you're from country wise, but they answered it that way, right?
yeah,
Um, but it could be interpreted many ways.
you're right.
I think the way you ask the question is also important, you know? So where you from? Like versus like, because then people kind of feel that energy and they want to open up. I think it's
Sure.
your vibe, I heard it said you gotta talk with smiling eyes. Not this really goofy grin, but
Yeah.
eyes. And people feel that warmth. And I find people open up pretty quickly because of that warmth and that sort of sincerity.
Were you ever in a networking event where someone, you're talking to someone, but they're looking beyond you because it's like, who are they going to talk to next? Or what are they missing? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'll sit there and I'll be like, just, move on because I won't keep them because they obviously want to
Yeah.
get to the next person,
Right.
but they don't know they don't know anything about me.
That's right.
So they're discounting. Like, one thing I say with networking, you don't know who those people know, so definitely first impression, but also you're just, if a person is, it's hard when the person is very transactional for me, because once they, kind of just, they only care about what I do or who I know, because they kind of want that from you.
Right.
But I do believe that, when you're relational, you want to go through this process, right? You want to grow together.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you make a good point. And, I remember belonging to a different networking group. Um, there was a guy in my group, blue collar guy, dropped the F bomb every few minutes. I mean, nice guy, just, blue collar. And he was a one man, business, right? And I knew that he was not a potential prospect in terms of, some of the things I do for work, but he was my best referral source. So if I would have judged him or prejudged him based upon, he happened to live in Greenwich and he was, friends with a lot of CEOs and CFOs, multimillionaires at Greenwich, who's a builder. So who does he know, right? And like you said, when you're talking,
Yeah.
you don't know who they know. You don't know who they are, and you don't know who they know. And I like to say it all the time, you got to follow the rabbit hole. You never know, right? But if you don't build that rapport and that trust, you'll never get to that potential sphere of influence.
Right. And you were interested to find out. And that, I don't know about you, but I think my superpower is that I am insatiably curious. So it's just, I think you're the same way, and not saying that everybody is that way, but I just keep digging deeper and deeper,
Yeah.
and but that's us. Now,
Yeah.
what about somebody that is just like, maybe a little bit more, introverted? Do you have any suggestions for, coming from being that introvert to kind of breaking out of your shell? Do you have any suggestions for people?
Well, I could only suggest what I've seen in my life, and because it's helped me tremendously. I think self-development has been phenomenal. Reading books. I haven't read the book you mentioned, but How to Win Friends and Influence People, Bringing Out
Yeah.
the Best in People, Scale with People, Les Giblin. I mean, there's so many books on people skills and learning how to communicate. John Maxwell has a great one.
Love John Maxwell.
Many people communicate, few connect. There's a lot of really good books. So learning, just reading, or in my case, because I'm dyslexic, learning disabled, I have to listen to books. But just that in itself builds your confidence. Audios, podcasts, etc. Functions, right? It's cliche, but you hear any of these success-minded people, they talk about books, audios, and functions, or different kinds of seminars. all that builds you as a person, right? I'm a big believer in mentorship. I've been blessed to have a mentor in my life. I think that's a big one. They help with blind spots, things that I might not have thought about that help you get through that. And then, action. I mean, action cures fears. It's a cure. It's a cliche to me, but
I
you know,
love it.
you know, fear is false evidence appearing real. A lot of times we just let fear paralyze us, and just getting out there and just the doing, it grows your confidence, right?
You're
Oh, you
practicing,
something that
right? You're practicing
practice.
to
Yeah,
network. Yeah.
yeah,
It's really,
exactly.
that's really interesting because I think that's what people don't understand is they're so fearful, right, to go out and do that first event. Just go do it. Even like I said, get there if you can a little early, and so that you're not walking into a big giant, a room of people. Also, I've heard another one last comment about that is I've heard don't try to walk into the middle of like a big group of people. Find that person that's standing on the edge and go start talking to them. You know what I mean? And then that can be they'll appreciate you coming up and speaking to them if they're by themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much we could go on. Actually, you
We
and
can go
I,
on and on. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, I think LinkedIn today is a great resource for people that, again, if I don't know if you're going to be posting my contact, but if anyone's
yeah,
interested in learning more on LinkedIn,
yeah,
that's a great tool today because that's the one way right now I'm able to get out there and expand my network, because I can't do it otherwise. I mean, and through the realm of mass networks, and I've continued to do that as well. But that's another way I could do it, I should say.
so I'll be posting your contact information. I'll post the book that I was talking about. Also, if there's anything you want to add to any other, like you were talking about some of your the books and the people that you listen to, that would be fantastic. So we'll put
Mhm.
that in the comment section. And
Great.
I think people, the benefit is anybody listening to this needs to really connect with you. It's obvious. I mean, you're a connector and you're open to it also, so that's like another plus. And that's why I wanted to be one of our first lunch and learn to really connect with the other people in master networks and beyond that might be sitting there in isolation or whatever's happening, but they need to get out. And the best way to do it, they can do it through Zoom, they can do it through telephone calls, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Now's a good time. I mean, everyone's quarantined, so now's a great time to grow us and grow our network. And this is a great vehicle and platform to do that.
great. Well, thank you so much. I really, I always enjoy speaking with you, and I just know that everybody in the rest of the Master Networks world will also, and nationally, hoping to really connect Master Networks throughout the rest of the country, and that's what we do here. So thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it and taking the time for this. And
Thank you for the opportunity.
okay, thanks. Talk to you later.